Hey everyone, I hope you're having a great Sunday. I am trying this live for the 35th thousandth time. I am S Cake or Sandy, and I'm bringing some encouragement to you today. Hopefully, I'm hoping to share a story of a friend of mine. I was blessed to be able to ask her a few questions, and I am sharing this because I think that it will help others, encourage others to tell their story. You never know. People may act the way that they act because of ignorance. They just don't know um, how to how to interact with some people or something like that. So I am hoping that this technology works the way that I plan. I'm going to invite my friend Elle on, and we'll get started. So let's see if that works. It says, oh, that's a plus. We're getting somewhere. And I know that there'll be a delay. There may be a delay, so hopefully it'll work
Hello.
right. Oh, hey, it's working.
Hi. Yay.
Thank you,
I'm
thank
trying
you.
to find a spot to go sit, but
Okay,
yeah, it's working.
okay, cool, 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 cool. So,
Excuse the sunshine and palm trees. I'm in Florida.
oh, look, everybody needs that. Look, we got a whole lot of Ohio people that's looking in and probably looking at us like, no. I need
Right.
to be in
I'm trying to
Florida.
find somewhere to sit. There's a little park. Oh, they have a dog park in here, so I might be able to sit on a bench.
Okay. And that sun is
It's
shining
not-
on your hair. That is beautiful.
Thank you. I haven't even, I was gonna put it in a roller set when I came down, and then I
Yeah,
was like, wait, it's about to be hot.
right.
Last time I was down here, it wasn't really that hot.
Yeah.
So they
What's
have like
the
a little swing set. They have a little swing set. No, it's kind of nice.
what's the temperature down
All
there?
right. I think it's like 70, 73, 74.
Really?
It's breezy.
I'm jealous
Yeah.
right now. It's 37 down here in North Carolina. What was
Whew.
this morning?
Let me get some. I'm gonna go sit somewhere where, well, I'm not sitting nowhere far because it's a dog park. So I'm gonna sit right here.
Okay.
And I'm probably not gonna sit. I'm probably gonna stand the whole time because I'm
Okay.
trying to find. I'm trying to figure out where you can. Okay, cool.
Look at that. Well, that's good lighting right there.
Yeah, my hair is crazy, but
That's pretty.
thanks. Thank you. So, did you already do your introduction or
Sort of,
any
I
part?
did. I was just kind of letting everyone know that, we're doing this interview or whatever you want to call it so that
Hmm.
people can get an understanding or,
Hmm.
even just to hear your story, your side of being a mixed race female. So,
Right.
like I said to everybody else, this is Elle, and she has um, let me in on her story. So I hope that it encourages and inspires someone else to, share your side and be you. That's the main thing. Be who you are. Be who you're created to be, and don't have where you don't have to feel like you are set in this particular box and have to be like everybody else. So thank you, first of all, for allowing me to do this and helping me with my schoolwork. So
Oh,
I
anytime.
appreciate it. I appreciate it. So let's start off with if you can tell us what races you are mixed with. And if you could tell us like who it is, your mother, your father, which side, things like that.
So, my mom is black. Um, Her dad was Dominican, like black Dominican, um, and like has family from like the Virgin Islands. So a lot of just mixed islands blood. My grandmother is black. She's um, she grew, yeah. So my grandmother is black. My grandfather is black Dominican. So that's how you get my mom. And then my dad is a mixture of French and English and a couple of other things, but he's white. So
Okay. Cool.
that's where we get it from.
Okay. So when someone may ask you, or just even growing up, how do you identify? Do you lean more onto
Black.
one, or you identify as black?
Yes, because my mom's black, and so that's the culture that I've grown up in. That's what I am. Can't doesn't look. It, it doesn't sound right to say, "Oh, this black person gave birth to me, but I'm white." It doesn't even make sense, literally, like logically. So,
Right.
yeah, identify as black.
Okay. So, let's see. Have you ever had a situation where you feel like you've been praised for being lighter skin or being mixed race?
Yes.
Okay.
Um, Growing up, the first thing a guy or like a friend of mine would say com would say something is about me being light skinned or mixed. Like I have different friends or family members. They're trying to introduce me to a guy. They're like, she's cute, she's mixed, and you know, um, or guys just want to talk to me at one point because I was light, and they had complimented how light I was.
Hmm.
But the thing about that for me, is it a compliment or is it an indicator of how truly colorism has impacted our society? And it
Right.
starts at a young age. So I didn't actually like guys who liked me because I was light skinned. I wouldn't talk to them because why do you like me just what I, because of my color?
Right. Okay. Did you ever like I know you said you didn't like the guys who did like you because of that. Did you ever like express that to them, like I don't like this or anything like that?
I mean, no. At that point, I don't think I was really. I just didn't like the fact that they had that type of preference
Right.
because I had friends that were darker that were I felt were prettier or or just as pretty. So it
Right.
just bothered me. I didn't feel like I needed to dignify it, and I feel like someone who thought that way probably wouldn't understand anyway where I was coming from. So
Right.
not to waste time.
Yeah. So let's see. Have you ever been in a situation where you were teased because of your skin complexion or being mixed race?
All the time.
Like, can you
All
give
the
me an
time.
example or something, even
Uh,
from younger or now or?
I mean, growing up, it was there was a test. They wanted to test you. There's a stereotype that light skinned people are weak or whatever, or we think that we're better than other people because we're light complected. So there was always animosity, mostly in high school, junior high. Elementary, I don't really remember all the way,
Hmm.
but I do remember that, like, you think you're better looking because you're like, you know, um, people um, just trying to bully you.
Yeah.
And I think high school might have been a big portion of it. I think now people talk about how light I am. It doesn't really bother me, so I don't really feel like it's being like someone teasing me per se. But yeah,
Yeah.
it still comes up about how pale I am. Like I come to Florida once a month, and someone was like, "For someone who goes to Florida every month, you're so pale." Like, you
Mm.
know, just I get teased by white people for being so white. Like some of them are darker than me. So
So you get it all around.
right, yeah,
But it sounds like you're more comfortable with who you are, now to where it doesn't affect you as much. But if I'm understanding correctly, it had an effect on you when you were younger or growing up.
right, yeah. So like I always wanted to be darker, so I would always be out a lot. I always made sure I got as much of a tan as I could get in the
Hmm.
summer. I tried to do things to compensate for my lack of a skin tone, or lack of melanin. Um,
Hmm.
just to, I don't know, try to diminish everything to a sense or make it less of a focus. But it did affect me. My mom is brown,
Mhm.
and I always wanted my skin color to be more like her skin color. And being raised with all black family members, most of them that are brown skinned, all of them darker than me. There were some light skinned ones of us, but all of them darker. I was really self conscious about being light, so I made sure that I went out and I tanned, and I um, made sure that I got as dark as possible. Or when I got makeup, it would be a little darker, not necessarily
Mhm.
to a point of blackface, but just even just that little shade darker,
Yeah.
to make it not seem not feel so light, like so I could fit in a way.
Right.
Because my other family members, they're like a little bit darker than I am, a couple shades darker,
Okay.
but most of them are not. So yeah, that's what I did.
Okay. What about privilege? How does privilege affect you and the color of your skin and things?
Um, so I will say that I don't want to say I have white privilege because that's a lie, but since if you see my hair right now is really light, and so when I go to a job interview and they see me if I straighten my hair and I talk just the right way, I do get privilege. I do get the job. I've never had a job where I interviewed for it and I didn't get it. And usually, and it's they're the Caucasian people. The perception to me is, and it's been my experience, that they'll hire me because I'm just black enough. They don't know how, based on visually, right? But they don't
Hmm.
exactly know. They don't want to ask. They always ask something about diversity or something to kind of try to ask what I am if I'm black or not.
Right. Yeah.
So I do get that somewhat privilege though, because they're like, I'm checking the box, but she's not really black. But then
Right.
they hire me and they realize how black I actually am. So that is some of a privilege. Um,
Yeah.
I don't like it though, but it just is how it is. I think that to even have to be in a situation in 2019 that lighter skin color is privilege is kind of
Right.
sad. So it's
Yes.
not, but professionally I get different types of results when I ask for them,
Mm.
and in comparison to some other people in different aspects, not all jobs, and I'm not even saying the one I'm at, but in
Yeah.
general, I have seen where I'm heard more or given allowed certain things more leeway than others
Right.
uh, in the past.
Yeah. So, like, I know we had talked before, and you had mentioned something about how you kind of make that difference. Like, you take it outside the box. You're not the normal or what people think, you should be or whatnot. But how do you make a change to let people know that, there's a difference?
Well, there are people like coworkers that have expressed things like for example, recently, one of my coworkers. Oh, cool! I just saw this lizard on a rock. I'm like ADD for a second.
Oh, you saying cool? I'll be like, oh, we gotta run. Let's go to the
It's a
lab
little.
real
Well,
quick.
Florida has a lot of these little like lizards that
Yeah.
run around. They're like geckos, or they're not geckos. They're little chameleons, but they're not. They just run around. And this one's just still on a rock. But anyway, sorry.
No.
I have a coworker recently that said something about. I don't know what I was talking to her about, but we ended up on a topic of Obama. I don't know how, but we were talking. I don't know what we were talking about. But then she said, "I don't like that there's a Muslim woman in Congress." And I'm like looking at her with like the most calm face.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "Because the Muslims, when Obama was in there, he was supportive of Muslims and they're anti-American, and I was like, well, I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
Muslim is a faith. I said, first of all, and it's not anti-American. It's been around since before then. But it's very, I think we were talking about, I was just talking about how like it's not anti-American,
Yeah.
and but the undertones were like when she kept talking about Obama, and I said, well, Trump has Klan supporting him, backing him up in office, and she said, I don't believe that, but you believe, the other thing. So
Right.
there was another issue. I don't remember what happened, but I had to tell them, like, I'm black. Like, I don't know if you realize this, but, you know, every day, I think they were talking about like something recently on the media. It's been so many things that have happened. Oh, the blackface situation. And I
Uh-huh.
was like, I can't believe people are still buying this. Like, and she was like, it's not that big of a deal. I said, blackface is a big deal. Like,
Mhm.
I'm black,
Right.
and so there's times where people will make opinions about black people and they don't think that I am black, or they don't think that like, like I wasn't raised with black people. Like they always assume like my
Right.
mom's white, something like that. They
Yeah.
always assume like the wrong thing. So um, I think that, how I change things is that it doesn't matter. Like, hi. Huh? I don't have a dog in here. I'm just doing an interview. You're fine. Yeah, I just didn't have signal in the house and I just came out. Yeah, she's not gonna bother. She's fine with me. Oh, that's fine. It's not gonna bother me. She's cute. Um. Anyway, so there's gonna be a dog behind me, but
Okay.
I might catch the puppy. Hi, babies. Hi. Can I pet her? Oh, she's good. Sorry. She's good. I'm fine with it. I know she can't jump and stuff, and they get distracted. Okay. Sorry. Um.
Maybe fine.
So. Um. So yeah, so I think that I have to stand regardless of what I look like. I feel like I have to stand my ground. I have to say what I have to say, and sometimes that helps people. I have a friend actually. She just went through something where she said that colored people. She said something like there's this colored kid and he wanted the skin colored band-aids,
Mm.
and I gave them to him and I was really happy, and I said colored kid,
Right.
and
Like
she was telling me
immediately.
about a time where someone was being racist, okay? And
Uh.
she was like, they need to get over it. Black people need to get over it. And she was like, I was really upset with this woman. But she didn't report the woman because it's her boss. But she was
Mm.
upset. But I said, don't refer to the kid as colored. Nobody. Hi, babies. Hi. You're so pretty. You're so pretty. Yes. Look at that. It's okay. I'm fine. But anyway, so it was just kind of like a thing where um, I told her, I said, nobody likes to be called colored.
Right.
And she said, well, what do I call them then? Black? African American? Well, people have a problem with me being calling them black or African American and they prefer colored. I said, nobody prefers to be called colored.
Right. I
And the
don't know
funny
anyone
thing
who
is
does.
I was in a situation with her um, a year or so before where her sister, we were all at a bar and her sister said, white guys like colored girls now, so it's okay. And I backhanded her.
Uh,
I was drunk and I backhanded her. And she said, why did you do that? I said, it's better me than somebody else who didn't know you, because that could have been way worse. You don't
right.
say that, So I have to make it very clear that I'm black, and because that's how I was raised. I've been called all types of names and been discriminated against just with the drop, you know, or
Yeah.
being out with my mom, or just different things that have happened where, you have to be in a position to take a stand. If you don't take, if the steps are there for you to take a stand and you don't step up to the plate, I feel like as a black woman or a black man or as a black person, you're failing, when times when you should not be silent, you know
Right. Right.
as long as you're well within your right and you do it in a respectful manner,
Mhm.
you have to you have to remind people,
Right. It's a
constantly.
time to
As
educate somebody. Yeah.
Right. And sometimes it's well perceived, when I do express things to people, it is well perceived.
Mhm.
I feel like because I'm lighter and dark is associated by Caucasian people as being aggressive or being threatening,
Right.
um, psychologically. They've done studies on that.
Mhm.
But explaining from a black woman's perspective who's lighter, a black person's perspective, like, hey, listen, this is not cool. You can't do this. You can't say these things. You should not do this. This is how this is. It kind of helps somewhat bridge the gap, or at least represents to them, oh, she's not as bad, because I'm explaining it. Maybe black people
Yeah.
aren't as bad, and it's terrible that we live in a society, like I said, right now, that I'm in a state right now where they can stand your ground. I'm in a state where Trayvon Martin was, killed. So, um,
Right.
for being in his own neighborhood. So it's scary
Yeah.
being here. It's scary sometimes uh, being in places like, Florida or down south and stuff like that.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, because that brought up something that I was thinking. I don't know about you, but when I do travel, even coming from Ohio to North Carolina or Ohio to Texas, whatever, you go through different states and you don't know for sure what you're going to run into. I know I myself have the fear sometimes, like stopping at gas stations, and not knowing who's going to be in that gas station. And if I look like I am a threat to someone or whatever, how they'll perceive me. Do you have those feelings when you travel or when you go to new places or whatnot?
But see, I call it the passcode, which
Mm-hmm.
is sounds kind of messed up, but what I do is when I travel, I try to look as um well, like, for example, I took a 32-hour visit to Mississippi
Mm-hmm.
a couple years back. Actually, around the time I met your mom,
Yeah.
and I had gotten on a bus for to Mississippi, and what I did was my hair was already blonde, and I had it straightened, and I just it sounds bad, but I almost feel like I have to pass to get by with no problems. I have this anxiety about it. That's one
Yeah.
thing. Like, I have an anxiety about it because I don't want to be in that situation.
Right.
But being in a situation, but like when I'm here, there's not really, there's just a certain way that we have to conduct ourselves. Like when I'm with my boyfriend, there's no passing for that. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's we have to make sure. Like we were driving past the police, and I'm like, babe, like put your hands on 12 and 2. Like look,
Right.
look
Right.
straight ahead. Like we
Mm-hmm.
had to adjust ourselves in the
Yeah.
car, how we were driving, so
Yeah.
that we wouldn't be considered a threat or pulled over for no reason,
Right.
And that is something that that kind of fear is something that doesn't work for what I'm trying to do, what I thought was okay, like for me to try to look as like them as possible, which sounds bad, but like it's when we're in a situation where it's life and death, where there's real life clan members still here, still
Right.
around in 2019. That's something
Right.
that it's really hard to fix, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I understand. And yeah, it's a sad truth, that we have to think like that. We have to think about our surroundings and figure out if this is a safe place, or do I need to be more like this? Because even if me being of darker skin is like, and I go somewhere that's unfamiliar, my I take a look at myself like, okay,
Right.
am I
Am I
straight? Do I
presentable? Right,
yeah,
right.
like am I gonna come off as being this? And it's what's crazy. My husband, he's mixed and it's
Hmm.
kind of the same thing, but he's a darker tone, so it's like, okay, still okay, babe, 10 and 2, you gotta
Right,
you
right.
have to make sure that you follow these procedures that not everyone knows about, or no everyone doesn't even think about it.
And you shouldn't have to, but yeah, it's really
Yeah,
difficult. It is.
but it takes for people like you said, like when you do have that certain privilege to be an ally for someone else or to speak up to those, especially if you have it coming to you in both ways, to
Hmm.
educate someone else because sometimes it's out of ignorance. People
Right.
just don't know that they're being, like this is not acceptable. So
Right.
sometimes it is out of ignorance, and to teach them in that moment is like more important than having a class about it. 'Cause not everyone's gonna come to the class, you know,
Right.
and it's actually more they can receive it better from someone, especially if they know them. So I'm not gonna hold you like extra long, but I do have a couple more questions. One
No
would be,
problem.
if it was something that you want others to understand, what would it be about this?
Um, not all not all mixed people, some people have different feelings about whether to be called mixed or biracial.
Right.
But not everybody that's light complected thinks that they're better, that's mixed thinks that they're better. Not everybody that's mixed, like, you know, um, I don't know. Or just people are people, I guess. I don't know. I
Yeah.
think that we're more of allies. I think you have to understand the experience. Like if you look at my mom, like somebody at work said, I thought your mom was white and I got offended.
Mm.
But like, mixed people are people and they're just as proud about being black, more so than anything for me because my mom's black and I really respect the black women, black people that are in my life. I'm black, you know what I mean? But the ones that are full black. Um,
Yeah.
so like just like understand that we're people and how you perceive things. Don't let standards that society has set or your previous experiences with other people impact how you feel or how you treat the next person that looks like that.
Yeah. That's good. And the last thing, if you could change anything about this whole debate or this whole issue, what would it be?
Um, I think that we really just need to come together because there's bigger issues that we need to fix. We do have a president that's backed by white supremacists. We do have continual black crimes. I think that we should try to be united, whether we're gay, straight, Christian, whatever. Like, stop letting certain things divide us that are as simple as even color, lighter and darker.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we have a bigger problem and they want us to be divided. So
Right.
that's how I feel about it.
Yeah. And that's good. Separation is a huge thing. I think, sometimes one way to get past that is if we take the time to listen to understand and not necessarily just listening to debate with someone, you know.
Right.
So yeah, I appreciate that. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for everything.
You're welcome. If you have any questions, let me know. And I think I'm
Okay,
going to address this in my book. So we'll have to talk again so I can
okay,
remember the stuff that I said because I've
definitely.
said some decent things.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely, definitely. Okay, well, I appreciate it like tremendously. You enjoy that weather, and it's
Thank
over
you.
there
You
for
have a good
me.
day.
Have a good one. I'll talk to you later.
Talk to you later. Bye.
All right, everybody. That was our talk, our Sunday afternoon chat. I hope that you got something from it. I hope that you can figure out a way to live blessed in it. We all are created equally in some kind of way. God made us fearfully. We are fearfully and wonderfully made. We're all here for a reason. So I hope that we can take something out of Elle's story and continue to push, continue to live blessed, and continue to find a way to be united so that we can tackle some of these issues that are here in the world. We got a lot of stuff going on, and it's going to take all of us to figure it out. So I hope y'all live blessed, and I hope that that blessed you. I'll talk to you later. See you later. Love, peace, and hair grease.